Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to our show, Support Local Film Colorado. I am here with the one and only HFB.
Hello, Julia. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. We have just so many exciting guests on our show, and it's just so cool.
Well, I love it when we invite guests on the show who really, really show Colorado, who really, really show what it means to be active in your community. But today I have some fun news because our guest here is a big opera lover. And I found out something yesterday that really made me excited. Did you know what's going to be happening in October?
No, I don't know.
Well, a great opera is coming to town at the Ellie Calkins, and it's called Dracula.
Ooh, sounds like something you love.
Oh, you would love it too, Julie. It's gonna be a great production. Dracula's got a great history. It's not just an excellent novel. It's not just excellent movie adaptations. There's so many people who have done excellent versions of Dracula, and now it's coming right here. Are you gonna invite them in?
I might have to do it this time. You just convinced me.
Well, maybe let only the right ones in. But remember what happens with Dracula. But Edward Gorey did the production design for a production of Dracula. This was in Martha's Vineyard, and it won every Tony Award for production design because it was so immaculate and so perfectly designed. You could say it had a grand design.
It had the transition there.
You're darn right. This is an episode I've been really excited about to talk to you with Julie because we have Dr. Barbara Shannon Bannister, the one, the only Dr. BSB. She is on our show today, and she reps Grand Design Inc.
Let's go.
Let's go. Doctor, how are you today?
I am wonderful. Every day is wonderful.
Aww.
Every day with you is wonderful. I want to say that.
That's very nice of you to say.
Well, there's never been anyone who's really filled up my cup like you. You inspire me. You show me from your wealth of knowledge and your achievements and your triumphs that what a person can do with their life. And now you're here with us today, and I've just been so excited for this.
And I'm so excited to be here and share with you too. Just a little piece of the things I've been blessed to do. It hadn't always been just because Barbara was Barbara. It was because of my belief in God and the things that He allowed me to be in touch with and said, "Hey, do it."
Amen.
Amen. Well, you've been doing a lot.
And I'm blessed. Totally blessed.
Yeah. Well, we want to talk to you about, we want to get a little bit of everything today.
Okay.
We want to get a little bit of your life story. We want to see some of your highlights from your life. You were a TV show host. You're a documentarian now. You're executive producer. And you run Grand Design Inc. How you all do that, and this is your retirement.
That's right. This is my retirement
This
part.
is retirement. You must be the busiest woman on earth, and you still work from home and do everything. So why don't we talk about the marquee thing, the thing that, I've had a lot of involvement in and that I've just always tried to tell people about. And you know what it is. Why don't you tell us the initials?
BBBB. That's 4 B's, and that's B to the 4th power.
Fourth power.
Now, Julie, when I first introduced you to BBBB, you were like, what does BBBB stand for?
Yes, I was. I was very confused.
Well, now you have the chance to really hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
That is so true. You know what? What does BBBB stand for?
Breaking barriers, building bridges. That's what we're all about. That's what I'm about.
That's awesome.
Have been involved with, grew up in New Orleans and moved to Wyoming. And somebody said, "Why did you do that?" Said, "Well, I didn't want my 4-month-old daughter to grow up in a segregated city." So me and my husband got on the train, moved to Casper, Wyoming. And that's when my church member said, "Do you know where you're going? They still hitch up horses on the main street." And I'm thinking, what is that all about? So we moved to Casper, Wyoming, and stayed there for 20 years and did a lot of things in Casper, Wyoming, and just grew. I mean, we were young people, didn't have a lot of experience about things, and we grew. Casper embraced us, and we embraced Casper.
That's so cute. Well, Hunter and I both grew up in a small town in, the country area. Did you have that homey feel? I mean, I know you're trying to get away from the segregation. What was it like moving to a small town within the culture and the times that you were in?
It was a blessing. We were about 41,000.
Mm-hmm.
My husband was a technician. He was an adjunct professor at the Community College of Aurora, of Casper. And I taught school, and I was a choir director, so it was in music. I sang with the women's Casper College choir. Uh, so my daughter was 4 months when we moved there. We had another child, a son, while we were there. So one was born in New Orleans and one was born in Casper, Wyoming. So the thing about my son is that when he does things on for his profession, he's a metallurgical engineer. He's retired now. When he says he's been born in Casper, Wyoming, they said, there are no black folks in Casper, Wyoming. And for true, there wasn't a lot of us, maybe 1,000. But Wyoming is still less than 1%. We're less than 1% in the whole state of Wyoming. But it was such a lovely place to be, and there was segregation because we were the oil capital of the Rockies. So what does that say to you when I tell you it's the oil capital of the Rockies?
I'm imagining a lot of roughnecks.
A lot of roughnecks, a lot of segregation, a lot of people who brought that southern influence into Wyoming because it was all the major oil companies. That's what it was. That's what it was like. And what Wyoming did in the very beginning is because you had these really rich oil people, they brought other folks to come in and live in Wyoming and be what we call to live on premises. Do you know what that is?
Like domestic servants?
That's right. That stayed in the home all the time, except for on the weekends. So that was a different thing for us. And then, of course, when they were receiving people from other places, a lot of folks came from Kansas, and they worked in the oil company buildings at night. So that was a source of income. So it's a whole story that somebody just hasn't written yet.
Wow, we're in the process of writing that story. You have been doing some filming for notable events that have happened in Wyoming with the Black community, in particular when Maya Angelou came to town.
Maya, and I think they invited Maya to come, which was a shock to the Black folks, because I don't remember any other Black person being asked to come, and it was their kind of like their human rights conference, and they asked her to come, and I had even forgotten that she had that I had that book because I used to have I was a part of the Book of the Month Club, so therefore I had that book, and I took it with me when I went to meet her, and she autographed it for me, and I had even forgotten that she had autographed it for me, and she did. She was the narrator for two of the not podcasts because we weren't doing that then, but two of the conference things that we were doing, and she talked about how she was in not in Australia, but in one of the foreign countries, and the Arabs. They asked her about what difficulties she might have had when she was in that country, and she said none at all. She said, I just told them that here's what happens to Black folks, and she said they got up and clapped about it. Mm-hmm. And so now that you know that the Arabs are some of the people who are not really very receptive to people of color. They're rich folks, very rich, and so they don't have to worry about America at all.
It's interesting to see that kind of perspective coming from a poet who has this kind of literary, I don't know the French word term for it, but that literary aura about them, and they have all this respect, and yet they still can go to places like this in Wyoming or in a foreign country and still receive this kind of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was amazing to us. That was her first book. So nobody really knew about Marguerite Angelou. She was Marguerite, and so she changed her name to Maya. So when people tell me sometimes, and I really shouldn't do this, they said, "Oh yeah, I named my daughter Maya after Maya Angelou," and I have to hold my tongue and not and say that and keep saying, "Barbara, don't say that. Don't say her name was Marguerite and not Maya."
Yeah,
I
well,
want to say it so badly, but I just said, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't break that mother's heart."
well, and the cool thing is you had coins made with Maya. We're gonna try to zoom in on that.
We're gonna touch out of that.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard image to show at the camera, but it is a very beautiful drawing of her with an eagle. And
That's
just
right.
like that is so cool. And tell us a little bit more of how you got this made.
Well, I serve on the Aurora Civil Service Commission, and that's the commission that looks at the hiring of police and fire, and when they also are disciplined, and and they are fired or whatever. There are five of us on that commission, and there was a gentleman who had worked for the Denver Met many, many, many years ago, and I was telling him I was going to do something on Maya Angelou, and that was back in February during Black History Month. And I said, I see that the coin is coming out, and I'd like to get some, and I don't know how to get them. He said, well, I've got a friend down at the Denver Mint, and I'm going to call him and see what we can do. And they did arrange it, but I didn't get it for in time for to do the presentation. But as soon as I got them, I had got enough to give to all the church members in my church, so they'd have a little keepsake of Maya Angelou.
That's
Well,
really cool.
it takes a while to build those kind of connections.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack a little bit. You've had all this time in Wyoming, and then you decide, well, shucks, I better come down to Colorado and start making moves and hustling about there. So you move down to what used to be called Fletcher.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of folks don't know that. I think, and I'm trying to think, it seems like it's almost 125 years or more since it was called Aurora when the name was changed. And
Really?
I
Huh.
was a part of doing that and getting that information out because I was community relation. Well, let me back up. I left Casper. My husband was with the federal government. And so um, we moved to Aurora, but a house was being built for us, and this is a grand story, I believe. House was being built for us, so we get down to Aurora, and we go to look at the house where it's being built, and he hadn't ever used his GI Bill because the house we had in Casper, he didn't use that. So the government came out, veterans came out, and they looked at it and said, "Oh no, it's not compacted in the soil right." So they had already laid the basement. They had to dig that up and redo it again. They did it the second time, and they said it's still not good. And they told me I had to select another site. But I'm glad that I did select another site. And so I became a Vista volunteer because I'm just not the kind of person that lays around. I like to be busy, and I'm hyper. Both my kids are A personalities and so forth, and all three of us. My husband was um, an extrovert. Me and my two kids are introverts,
Oh.
but we're but we're A positive people. And so this other house was built, and we moved in and everything. And then I became a Vista volunteer because I didn't want to be, and that was during the time when we had the energy crunch, when they were telling people don't decorate your Christmas lights, don't put them on, conserve your water, all kinds of things, putting the floats inside of your toilets, and if you had water that you use to bathe in, use that in your gardens and stuff like that. So it was, and I learned how to get on a roof and install solar panels.
Well, that's not all you did, because you were having all that fun. You get your house built, and you plant down your roots, and then you look around and you say there's no NAACP and there's no cultural center. And you come from Wyoming, but that's a town that could get with the oil money Maya Angelou out. So what did you so you say I'm too accustomed to that. So what do you do?
So I applied to be on the Human Relations Commission because that's a city uh, group that looks at discrimination and inequities and inequalities, etc. So that's before, I'm a Vista volunteer now. I'm not a city employee yet. So I get on the Human Relations Commission. And so they appoint me to the Human Relations Commission. And I have to tell you a quick little story about that. Uh, so I get on the Human Relations Commission, and I'm really involved with civil rights. Now, the Vista volunteer thing ends. That program ends because evidently the government thinks, okay, we've done what we needed to do, and we've kind of made the public aware of things that they can do, et cetera. So uh, I'm on the Human Relations Commission, and one of the people I met on the Human Relations Commission, because it's a very diverse group of people, is the person who is, would you believe it, the mayor of Aurora now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We were just at a meeting about a week ago, and he was saying that he said about me, and we're good friends. We get together at least once a month. He said that he came on the commission when I was the chair, and he said, "Let me tell you something about Barbara. That if you promise her that you're going to do something and you don't do it, she'll hunt you down and find out why you didn't do it." So he tells that story all the time.
That's so cute.
And so we've been friends all of these years, and that was before he became a public figure. So you know how long that's been. And that's Mike Kaufman. He's the mayor of the city of Aurora.
So cool.
Really, how did you start Grand Design? Like, you've been on these committees, you get hired as a city of employee of Aurora. You start building all this. How does Grand Design come about?
Grand Design starts with, I have a lady who is, an excellent pianist. You can put music in front of her and she can just play it. So we talked about how do we get together, and at first we started out as a dance group because she could play the piano and I could direct, and we had kids. And so we said, let's do something special for Christmas. So we must have had 10, 15, 20 kids and their parents, and we went around to every nursing home in Aurora and had the kids get out and dance for the people at the nursing homes. And we had already made little gifts to give to those folks, and that's what we did. One Saturday you had this long trail of people, and that's how Grand Design got started. So we said, in order for us to be successful, we need to have a 501c3. Both of us sat down and we researched and found out how you do that. We found an attorney. He was charging about $50 an hour. I said, "Oh, that's all we need is 2 hours. Let him look over everything that we put together and tell us what we need to change or do." We did that. We submitted it. He okayed it. We submitted it, and we got our 501c3.
Awesome.
And with that, you've been kind of doing everything in Aurora.
That's right.
Yeah. And Grand Design has supported things like Queenship, which is a program about empowering women. You've put on productions of Amistad, but now the marquee thing, B.
Breaking barriers, building bridges. Because that's what we're about. We're about religious things or things that are good for people. We are about civil rights, and we are about performing arts. We don't want people to believe that Black folks didn't have anything, but look what we brought to America and to all other places that slaves were brought to. Mm-hmm. If anything that you can think of that you've heard, I think you could find the beat of the drums or the sound or how the music is arranged, that because when we as slaves were brought here, they didn't just say we're coming to America. They went everywhere that they could take slaves. And so our influence is everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's why I want to make sure that people coming up now, young people, young Black kids, look, this is your music too. Don't give up on, and you don't want to go hear opera. All you want to do is pop, or whatever young people listen to. There's a wealth of knowledge of being a part of learning about music, because that's a discipline. If you're good at music, do you know you can be good at other things?
I mean, if you're good at music, you've done the hardest one.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So it's a 12-part series. It talks all about music from the moment people landed here in America to today. And we are going to show a clip to everyone, and it's going to be very exciting.
Make sure you begin to listen to the series and join us
Mhm.
and spread the word, because this is the way it's happening now. And I don't know a lot about TikTok and Instagram. Is that it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
close.
I don't know a lot about those things and podcasts and so forth, but because I have professional people like you who buy into this concept that our world is evolving just very, 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 very fast, and we've just
Yeah.
got to keep up with it.
Yeah.
It's not like the telephone that you have to drag along behind you with the cord. And who would have ever thought that you'd have an iPhone in my purse right now and I can talk to anyone anywhere?
Right.
Who would have believed that? And it's going faster than we are getting older.
Yeah, well, and to add to that point, before we get to the clip, which we'll get to in just a
Yeah.
second, it is cool that you bring that up, that we who have more experience with like film and modern technology, we can come alongside you, someone so experienced and has so much to offer to our community, our local and global community, and it's an honor to be able to get you on our podcast and get you involved in the media, what Hunter's doing with the social media and everything. That's just one of the amazing things that we get to do being in the media.
And I think what really, Julia, hits the nail on the head is how much fun we have with these people. It's the greatest joy in my life is learning about what people do and seeing how they affect their community, and seeing someone with so much effect on their community. You've built programs. You were the host of Thumbs Up Aurora, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But seeing the full length of what people do just because they love the place they're at is just amazing.
It
So
It is. And it's so rewarding. It is, I don't have sleepless nights unless I'm not feeling well, and that's, very rare. I mean, I have had a back surgery, and so that's why I'm on a cane, but that's something that happened.
You're literally a superhuman.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
and after seeing this clip, you're going to see why.
I somewhat do consider myself a classical trained artist because at the same time, this is natural, this is what God has given me. But what I do recognize is that whatever talent He gives you, you should also expand on it. I have taken vocal lessons. I have had the opportunity to learn a couple of arias as well. But I love me some good down home gospel on a Sunday morning or any other day of the week as well. So, and I love pop and all of music.
Retirement. That is what came out of her retirement, is she's continuing to make amazing things like this documentary and be a part of such cool media. But right now we want to highlight her experience in Wyoming through a special little game.
We want to talk about your roots. We're going to call it Up North, since they're our neighbors, Wyoming. It's Up North. We're going to give them a little thumbs up, Wyoming.
That's right, all right.
And we're going to play a game all about movies shot in Wyoming.
Oh my goodness.
So there's a few movies that when I saw what kind of movies they shot in Wyoming, I was kind of surprised. I was like, really? Because it's not what I expected, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna play a game all about some questions about what they do, and if you will get the special exception for this game.
Okay.
Usually we make everyone get every question right, and if they don't, we kick them off the show.
Okay, all right.
If
I'm
you
gone.
if you just get a question wrong, that's okay. We'll keep you on no
I'll
matter
help you.
what.
Don't worry, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I got you.
But with the added caveat, you're gonna have to tell us all of your best stories. Okay.
All right.
So ready for question 1?
Yes, sir,
All right.
madam.
Oh wow.
Oh, thank you. I'm a madam.
So up north. In Close Encounters of the Third Kind, everyone goes to a monument in Wyoming to talk to aliens. They want to talk to the aliens. But what monument do they go to? Is it A, the Cheyenne Days? Is it B, the Wyoming Film Festival? Is it C, Devil's Tower? Or is it D, Kanye West's Ranch House?
Devil's Tower.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
Look at her, the fastest gun on earth. You're
Wow.
absolutely correct.
I would have died.
This was a movie that came out in the 80s, so I'm pretty sure it would not have been Kanye West's house. I don't know. Ye
Just like in a
took the
draw.
pride
Like,
bus, right?
you're so quick. Like, wow.
All right, ready? Number 2. Django Unchained has a scene in Wyoming. It showcases the Wild West of this Wild West tale. But what backdrop did they use to show the beautiful west of Wyoming? Was it A, the Rockies? Was it B, the Grand Tetons? C, Kanye West's ranch house? Or D, a mountainside that suspiciously has Laura Dern's face carved into it?
Number 2.
Yes, B, the Grand
Oh my
Tetons.
Gosh, you're a master. She's
All right.
like answering it like no problem.
Yeah. Well, no worries, because this one I think will trick her. I think I got one.
Okay.
So, in Casper, your hometown, I found this out just today. There is a burger shop that's movie themed. What is that burger shop? Is it A, Silence of the Lamb Burgers? Is it B, Little Shop of Burgers? Is it C, Burger Face Off, where it's a burger so good it'll melt your face off? Or is it D, Big Little Burgers, after Big Little Lies?
That really does stump me.
Oh.
Because I remember when I first got to Casper, they only had one burger place. And I can't even think of that place, but it wasn't any of those.
Most certainly not. We'll give you one little hint. Since you are such a musical person, this has a musical aura about it. It's a burger shop that has a little musical taste.
Really?
Yeah.
Say them again.
So is it A, Silence of the Lamb Burgers, B, Little Shop of Burgers, C, Burger Face Off, a burger so good it'll melt your face off, or is it D, I don't remember the last one?
So it's not the last one. You can narrow it down.
So 2?
The second
That's
one,
the little shop.
the little
Yes,
shop.
it is Little Shop of Burgers
Yay!
in Casper,
Wow.
Wyoming.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, maybe when we go up to Cheyenne Days, we'll have to go together.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Mhm. Wow.
So, Dr. Bannister, thank you for coming on the show.
Mm-hmm.
If you have just tuned in, this is Dr. BSB with Grand Design Inc. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about how you can do all the amazing things she's done for the Aurora community. Stay tuned. So you've heard of breaking barriers, building bridges. Now get ready for this month's pick, B&B.
B&B is a mockumentary of a very unique situation. A bed and breakfast opened right at the cusp of COVID.
So our friend Angie Callan, who came on the show, promoted B&B, and now it's finally available for every one of you guys to see. And it's our pick this month for the Film Hound Vault, the Support Local Film Vault.
Mm-hmm. You want to check it out. It's created by actors from the acting studio, Babcock Studio. Everyone there has incredible talent, such unique approaches to characters, and it is so freaking hilarious. You're gonna die laughing.
And it's funny.
Go check it out on the Vault, everyone.
And watch B&B.
Welcome back from the break, everybody. We have one of the most unique guests we've ever had on, Dr. BSB, and we have something interesting to share with you guys about her. What was that?
Great.
Sorry, I'm gonna move
Yeah.
to you, Hunter.
This is
Yeah.
share day.
You
Yeah.
knew what you're. Go.
So, Doctor, we've been doing a lot of interviews with you, like in secret. Just you and I have been chatting, and I've been learning so much about you. But really, what I've been learning is about the history of Aurora and how someone can do something that initially might start small with one objective, and then grow and grow and grow, as you made it start with the 501c3. So, how do you make something grow like this? How did Grand Design grow into the organization it became today?
Well, first of all, the people you are hanging out with have the same objectives. They just need someone to say, look, this is something we can do together. I don't have to do it by myself. You don't have to do it by yourself. Let's get back up. After we had the group with the kids dancing, we had a choral group. And so we sang at places, we sang at churches and so forth. And as time went on, we began to be the senior choral group, because there were a lot of young people choral groups around, and ours was called Grand Design's Chorale. So that's why I wanted to distinguish us from being just a choir, because the chorale is like 8 to 10 people. There's a different definition for, as you know, a soloist, a duet, a trio, a quartet, a sextet, etc., octet, and so forth. So I wanted the crowd would be X number of people, and we would never get beyond that number. So it was like 4, 8, 12, 16 people max. And that's like sopranos, altos, tenors, and bass. And we found a church that would where we could be our practice church over in Denver, and that's how we started to begin to collaborate and say this can be more than just singing. There are other things we need to be bringing to the community, and so that's how that part was laid. So that same lady I told you about, who she was the accompanist, she and I got together and put that 501c3 together. And once we had that 501c3, we could connect with Adams County and Arapahoe County. And that's where we got our first $10,000 from Adams County to do some work in the Adams County part of Aurora. Because, you know, we're split in the middle, Colfax. On the north side of Colfax is Adams County. On the south side of Colfax is Arapahoe County. And never the twain shall meet. Adams County does not want you to use their money in Arapahoe County. Arapahoe County does not want you to use their money in Adams County. And we still get money from them as of today. We have to write proposals. We have to say what we're doing in those counties. And then we've added on the Denver Foundation with the Olympians. And so we're getting money from other places to do bigger things and more impactful things in the community, and especially for the community that's not disengaged, but has not had the opportunity to have that kind of funding, fund them to do positive things. And so that's how we got where we are. And I think, you know, even after I'm gone, there are people now in Grand Design who will carry it on.
And that's certainly a legacy of just showing what someone can build and then keep it going. That's one of the things that I think is and going to be important. You know, Grand Design is building its own social campaigns and starting to reach out to people where they're at on the internet. So do you think Aurora is always going to be, you know, a city boundary? It's going to be like everywhere, because Aurora is going to be everywhere someone has a phone.
That's right. We're not limited anymore. I mean, we are Arapahoe County, Adams County, and Douglas County. Now, we're not landlocked like Denver. They can't grow anymore. But we can certainly go out here and pull somebody else's piece of their land and put them. If it's another county, embrace them. But it doesn't have to be that way anymore where you have certain numbers of landlocked things and land. Because we're global, we can do things globally. And I could tell you a story about something that's global right now, but I'll wait later on. I'll tell you later on. And that's why while we focused on adults, why I want us to focus on youth now. Mm-hmm. What can we do with the young people, the young dance groups? Because if you get them involved and interested in doing something that they like to do, you can pull them over to doing some things that you think they need to be doing.
Mm. Yeah, bringing up the next generation.
Yes, right. That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, a great place to go. But especially if you are someone who may be just starting out with their 501c3, just starting to build these kinds of programs, what advice do you have for them?
That nothing is impossible. There are people all around who are sitting around and who want to do things and want to connect with folks, but they don't know how. So if you're in a church group, if you're in the Boy Scouts or you're in the Girl Scouts, and we don't limit this to females, this is everybody. If you are on a civil rights thing, information line, if you are if you're a poet, if you can write music, bring it to us. Let us listen to it. We do a talent show, and have it, and you don't have to be whoever the famous people are who sing.
Mm-hmm.
Test us out. Bring it to us. We can do those kind of things. We can set it up because we have the structure right now to give you the opportunity to perform in front of other folks. And who knows who will be sitting out in the audience and say, look,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've been thinking about something like this. Would you come and sing for us, etc.?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things that we can do because we are known. And we can, if you can, we can push you to be known too. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's a really great like mindset when you're starting as an artist or passionate about anything. Anything can happen. You can run
That's
to
right.
anyone. Don't ever think of some events and uh opportunities like what you guys are offering is too small for you. It's never too small for you.
That's
Any
right.
exposure that you can get in any level, starting locally and then globally, that's the best way to do it.
That's right.
And you never know. I mean, Hunter just found me on Instagram one day, and I was like, okay, and now we've made a feature film, and now we're doing this and meeting incredible people. You just don't know what kind of seeds will be planted if you take opportunities of these little opportunities.
That's right. Because, you know, with at the Fox Theater is the place where a lot of things happen, and not just Broadway kind of things. We did a civil rights story. We did a talk back on civil rights. We did Amistad. I think there are 5 or 6. We did the story of the Jews. Uh, Let my people go.
Cool.
And we did that,
Love
and
that.
and we portioned it out to say, this is what we were saying about how Pharaoh did people, and so this is the way we look at some of the things that have happened to African Americans and to other cultures. They have not been released yet
Yeah,
here, but we did the story of how it went.
that's
And I remember
important.
in those days, the paper used to do the stars, and we got 4 stars one year, and people came out of the woodwork. People came out of the mountains and every place, and we did it at the Colorado Community Church for 5 nights, and it was
I know
wonderful.
that church. I
And
actually used to go to that church.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so therefore I've done the Martin Luther King at the table. That's where he got his vision. So we wrote the script and we performed it. And people came to see it because that's what they identified with.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be much more objective and much more focused on making all folks be identified with a lot more than just Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
Most people know Martin Luther King Jr. I need to always say that because his father's name was Martin Luther King too. But we need to be much more focused of embracing the total community
Right.
and pulling from the total community all of these little pieces that can make it the greater community.
The hidden gems,
That's
you could
right.
say. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's so cool.
And then don't let us forget, what is this global story? Because once you rebuild a community, we got to go global, right?
That's right.
So what's the global angle?
The global angle is to make sure that, well, first of all, let me go back to BBBB. That can last forever. Building bridges, breaking barriers, building bridges. That's what we can be about now and forevermore. Breaking barriers, building bridges. And what does that mean to me? There isn't anything that's happening on this earth that I can't get my fingers into and explain and make it be what we need it to be.
It's amazing to see all that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And in your professional life, it's just so broad. You started this at, not a young 20-year-old. You started this when you were in your 40s.
Much seasoned.
You were seasoned.
Yes.
You were seasoned. That's a
That's
great
right.
word for it. And now look what you've done. You're a vet now. So, doctor.
And some days I don't believe it myself. I look at my numbers and I think, why am I still doing this? My children say, nobody would have worked as long as you've worked. I said, I'm doing what I do because I love it.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it. I want to do it. I do not want to sit at home and twiddle my thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what my life is about. That's not what I've been given the command to do. And how do I know that? It's because I don't sit around twiddling my thumbs. I sit around making sure that things happen or connecting with people who can make it happen for me too.
Yeah, it's that kind of calling and passion and motivation. That's what we like looking up to. It's really awesome. Thank you so much for being on our show. You're
Yeah.
amazing.
And the other thing about it is, I I I grew into when I came to Casper. I always say Casper for a lot. Aurora, it was 70,000,
Hmm.
and I chose this Aurora, and I chose Aurora because it was a young city. I said I want to be on the ground floor of a young city. Now it's 400,000.
Wow.
I That concept blows my mind. 40,000, 60,000 folks, and look where it is today. And look how many things that we have that are impacting folks. The Aurora Community of Faith, the Key Community Response Team. I organized that after Rodney King. When Rodney King got massacred, or whatever you want to call him, killed or beat up or whatever, my city manager said, put something together so that we are always on top of things like that. And I did it. It still exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Aurora Community of Faith still exists. The Human Relations Commission still exists. All of these things still exist that somebody can say, well, ask Barbara Shannon Bannister, she knows.
And you do know. And that's just amazing. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Yeah.
We have one last favor to ask of you.
Okay.
It's time to get uncomfortable.
Julia's been dying to ask these questions of you. She's been chomping at the bit.
I really have.
Would you be okay if we asked you some awkward questions?
Some really
Go ahead.
awkward questions.
I don't know whether I'll answer you, but I'll ask all you want.
I made it easy on you, okay?
Okay.
So I know you're first getting started with grand design and everything, and sometimes things can be awkward getting started in businesses. So tell me, what was the silliest mistake that you've ever made in getting started with grand design?
Not really knowing the people or a person I had chosen to be a part of it, whether they were really committed or not.
Oh, yeah.
That they talked the game, but they didn't do the game.
Mm.
And it's not easy.
No, it's not.
No.
That would be hard. Thinking, especially when you have hope in that person.
And then
Jeez.
trying to get the funding to do it. Not everybody wants to save the world.
Right.
I want to save the world.
Yeah.
I was the JC, and they always said, you can change the world. And you can.
Mhm.
You may not be able, and I don't take it that you can change the world, but you can change the world around you. The people you deal with, the people you actively communicate with. You can change their attitudes. Or you can at least say what your attitude is, and you can hopefully that they accept your attitude and you accept theirs.
Right. Well, you turned that very deep. Wow.
Haven't you been here this whole interview?
I know, I guess I'm like, oh, wow.
You thought
I'm
you were
learning
talking to a
something.
creek. You're talking to the ocean, baby. This is the Pacific.
Okay. So, like, when you do live performances and stuff, have you ever done a live performance?
Well, the choir
Of
director.
course, yeah. Yeah, so what was this, like, most embarrassing thing that's ever happened in a live performance for you?
Crying.
Oh,
Yeah, when I get in, if I'm singing, well, even when I'm directing, I used to direct the choir at my church in Macedonia, and sometimes, even though you practice it and you've got it together, and you get up there on a Sunday morning, you get ready to do it, and you just cry because the words, the spirit hurts you,
Yeah.
hits you, and you begin to stand up there in front of them, and you're crying, and then the choir members begin to cry. And that's,
everyone's just crying.
yeah.
And this is your performance today. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, well, last one, and I'll make it a little bit easier on you. What's the sweetest memory that you've ever had in your journey in the performing arts?
Sweetest memory. Having, I guess the sweetest memory is having my son, who doesn't really sing, but to come and be the soloist with my choir.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I can see how that's super important.
Yeah.
Dr. Bannister, where can people find BBBB?
Please hook on to us and promote us and connect with us. I'm sure you have a lot to offer to Grand Design. So go to Grand Design Inc. at Spotify
And on YouTube?
and go on YouTube. We need you because all the things that we do are not just for us, it's for all of us. Everyone is included. And now that we have this wonderful way of communicating with you through your iPhone, all the things that you have at your fingertips, don't miss out on helping us to do the things that I'm sure you'd love to do if you were connected with us. So if you connect with us, you'll do them, and we'll all get it done. So thank you for connecting with us. We care about you, and we know you care about us.
Amen.
And on that note, whatever you're doing, stop doing it and freaking check out Grand Design, please.
Yeah. And check out BBBB
And
while you're at it. And
Breaking barriers, building bridges. That's what the world is about. Breaking the barriers and building bridges. B to the fourth power.
B to the fourth power.
That's right.
Woohoo.
And no matter where you are, if you're in Aurora, you better be repping because you gotta stay creative, Colorado.